Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I want to speak about 3 things that are holding you back from the flow state. What are the mistakes that you make that actually prevent you from getting into that optimal state of performance or the zone? So the first thing that I would say, it's quite a simple one, but it's a powerful one. It's worrying. Worrying. A lot of people say worrying is praying for what you don't want. That worrying is a wasted emotion. That wasted emotion tells you that it's wasted energy in motion. So what are you doing with that energy? You're using that energy that you have, the energy reserve that you have to worry, whereas you could be using it to get into the flow. Could you not? Worry can't change the past. Worry can't control the future. Worry only makes the present moment miserable. And the present moment is constantly changing. So one moment, it's another moment, another moment, another moment, another moment. But if you're keeping on worrying through that time, you're creating a worried state of mind. And once you create a worried state of mind, it starts to trickle into your beingness and how you operate. So how you think about something determines the actions that you're taking and the behaviors that you're doing. So change up the worry element. How do we change a worry? Well, first of all, I'll give you 3 techniques to shift out of worries. One of the techniques is memento mori, all right? Remember your death. And also think about what's the worst thing that can happen. The brain doesn't like uncertainty, and so when it has uncertainty, it wants to create different storylines, and sometimes it does go to the worst thing that can happen. But if you don't decide in your own mind what's the worst thing that can happen, your mind will decide it for you. An example, let's say you get a D- on a report card. You're thinking that the logical step-by-step framework is ruining your life is the absolute worst thing that can happen. Once you ponder that, you think it's ridiculous. Don't worry about what you can't control in the future. Worry about what you can control right now. That's going to get you in the flow state. And just remember of all the times in the past that you hesitated, all the past times that you didn't take action, or you stopped yourself, or you worried too much about it, or you let yourself go, or whatever it was. Go back to all those moments and play them like moments in your mind, like a photo story, like a montage in your mind, and just go, just start watching that movie of your life. And the moment you feel an urge not to do that thing, play that like a cinema in your mind, and then it will pull you towards taking action. You want to be okay with whatever worst consequences come up for you. Next thing that I would say is notice the absurdity of life. Life is weird, man. Life is a joke. It's supposed to be this fun play, this act, this experiment, this simulation, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of times we take things way too seriously, so we start worrying. When you start taking yourself way too seriously, you start taking life way too seriously, you start worrying a lot. You start stressing a lot. Well, this life is a joke. Let me tell you once again, okay? It's supposed to be fun, and when you stop having fun, that's an indicator that you need to step out of that rigid thinking and step into more of a malleable or a fluid way of thinking about it, or just taking on a new perspective. The third thing is staying busy doing what you love. You can't be worrying about you not doing laundry and at the same time focus on the love of, playing cards, for instance. Your mind can't do 2 things at once, right? So once you can focus on one thing that you're really good at and that you're doing over and over again, and you're stacking your passions. So let's say you have a lot of passions, why not stack them? Right? Why not play football, come inside, work on a play that you've written, take that creative activity and stack it onto the next. Staying busy with your creations. Because once you're in busyness, it's not for the sake of being busy, right? You actually have a passion. So it's not busy for the sake of being busy, right? That's just, busyness is a form of laziness, right? But this kind of busyness is busy doing what you love, right? It's a different kind of energy. It's getting you to change your mood around. It's getting you to change your state around. Second thing that I would say is stop dreaming small and start believing bigger. Okay, stop dreaming small and start believing bigger. Okay, a dream is a dream. It's a fantasy. Right? You're in your mind, you're daydreaming, right? Meaning what? You're thinking about something and you're just going up into the fantasy world and you're thinking about it. But what if you could turn that daydream into a visualization? What if you can turn the image in your mind into imagination, and you can actually act on that imagination? Then it starts to create some momentum. And what if you could change your dream into a belief? Meaning that it's a knowingness, right? It's a belief. It's in your self-belief. It's in your system. It's in your programming now that it's going to happen. I have no doubt that it's going to happen. That's that belief. You need to turn your good ideas into God ideas. All right, what do I mean by that? Good ideas are just like, oh yeah, I had an idea once, I wrote it down, but then I forgot about it. A God idea is being present so much with yourself and your deep knowingness and connecting with a higher truth and having the universe, God, source, whatever you believe in, move through you and start creating through you. That's a God idea. You're moving out of the way and letting the universe do its thing for what needs to happen. You are becoming the vessel for creative energy. A someday is like a dream, right? Someday, yeah, someday I'll do it, but you want to get more specific. Next week I'll do it. Tomorrow I'll do it. Today I'll do it. I'll do it now. That's giving you much more clarity. I'll do it next Monday. I'll do it the next month, right? Give yourself a goal of when you will do it and actually go by that, because a lot of people say that, I'm going to do it later, but then they never actually do it. So give yourself some kind of leverage too. The next time you don't do it, you pay your friend $100, let's say, as an example. And that's going to keep you in the pocket, in the momentum, in the flow state, because you have something to lose, but then you have something to gain from that loss too. You see what I'm saying? So leverage, okay? And you don't want to use words like someday, maybe, yeah, but, when I do this, if only, okay, these kinds of statements. These are all on some kind of negative energetic word alchemy level, okay? You want to turn these into today, tomorrow, next week. That's accountability, right? You're giving yourself leverage, as I mentioned. A lot of people say, I just want to be happy. Just want a nice family. I just want a mediocre life, right? When you say you shoot for the moon, you land amongst the stars, right? So in a sense, you're going to have to dream bigger and shoot for the moon to be able to actually land a little bit lower than that. So what you're actually doing when you're saying, I just want a nice family, right? What you're doing there is you're going average, but then it's giving you below average. You're going subpar, right? So when you say, I'm going to do it all the way, fully committed, all in, this is my life, I'm doing it, I stand for something, I'm going all in, now the universe is going, okay, we'll give him or her a lot more to be able to make up for that. Why can't I do it? If 20 other people did it before, why can't I do it? It just makes sense that I can also do it, right? Because the pathway has already been carved. Now you can light the torch in uncertain areas and be a trailblazer. That's a more difficult process, but if you just follow the clues of success and you just ramp that up and you get inspired by others, not imitate others, but get inspired by them, then you start to add your own vision in action and your values in action, which creates your character. The first thing that I told you is worrying. The second thing that I told you is dreaming too small, too tiny, too minuscule. The third thing that I'm telling you right now is your environment is toxic. Your environment is toxic, and sometimes you don't even realize that it's a slow drip poison. Right? It's like, oh yeah, these people love me, I do feel safe. But what are the ideas going around in your environment? What kind of things are they talking about? Is your environment talking about the negative news that's happened? An environment doesn't have to be your physical environment. It could be also your mental environment. What are the images in your mind? What is your internal ecosystem like? Where is the solace that you go to in your own mind, right? And that's also the content that you're watching online. So if you're watching a lot of toxic content online, it's going to trickle into your daily beingness, right? And it's going to actually change the way that you're approaching life. So that's one thing that I would say too, is like, it's not only the physical environment, of course that's important, and of course, okay, you love them, but are they a business expert, for instance, or are they an expert on your ambition? Probably not, okay? So this is where the idea of mentorship comes in, and really putting yourself into a tribe, into a masterclass, into a group of people, into a community where you can thrive, all right? Finding your soul family, finding your community, finding the right people for you. You'll start to notice the more you are in your flow state, you'll start to magnetize the right kind of people. You'll start to magnetize it. All right. At first, it will be online, and then you'll start to see it growing, and it'll start to trickle in very slowly. Just start watching this, okay? When you're in the flow state, when you have much more synchronicity, you're just going to attract the right kinds of people. Because you have such a polarity, you have such a value within yourself that you're going to repel the people that don't resonate with you, and you're going to attract the people that do. Is your tribe of a high standard? Right? If you're in a group of people and everybody's showing up each day and they're crushing their days, they're crushing their workouts, they're taking cold showers, they're taking all the action steps for success, you're going to feel a pull, a drive, a momentum, a grit towards doing that as well. One thing that I would also say is don't speak about your goals to everybody, all right? Right? What people can't know, they can't ruin. Keep it to yourself, once it is a success, once it's finally out there, then you can do the promotion, right? Like, for instance, I didn't talk that much about my book before it finally got published. And then I started talking about it, right? It got approved, it got through, and then I started to promote it, right? If I talked about it not being made or whatever in the past, it wouldn't have probably formulated it into what it is now, right? Pennies make lots of noise. They clink when they hit the floor. But cash, a lot of cash, dollar bills, notes, are silent, okay? They're silent. They don't make a lot of noise. Once you can have that certainty within your silence, you can notice your flow state awakening, all right? So I hope this helped you out. I hope it gave you a new perspective. Avoid these 3 things, man. Like, really be able to take control of all of these things. Get rid of worrying about things. Don't dream so small. Believe way, way bigger. And finally, who are you surrounding yourself by? A lot of people won't understand your ambition. And it's so important who you spend time with. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you, and stay legend.